Alright, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are here with Colleen, who is not only a motorcyclist but a motorcycle instructor. She was actually my instructor for my IRC, Intermediate Riding Course Training. So that's how I met you. And she has very graciously agreed to go on camera, and first of all she's going to answer 10 questions for a motorcyclist. So we're going to dive straight into it. Thank you, Colleen.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
First question. What was your very first motorcycle experience? How old were you? And who first taught you to ride? So it's kind of a mixed question.
So my very first motorcycle experience was when I was probably about 15. We moved to Oregon, and I had lived in Iowa for a very long time. My dad had a Honda 350, and I don't even know which motorcycle, brand it or style, anything else. I just knew it was a 350, and I knew where he hid the keys. And when they would leave, my mom and dad, we had some property out in the back, maybe about 2 acres, and I would get the keys, and I just rode in circles around and around. I taught myself how to use a clutch. I didn't know how to use a clutch, and I knew my dad would be really mad if I rode the motorcycle. So then I made my sister, who is a year and a half younger than me, ride on the back. So I started learning 2-up, in the dirt.
Self-taught though at 15.
Self-taught.
So your father never took you on the back as a child?
Yeah.
So you never had an experience. So you had bikes in the family, but they were don't touch them.
Only my dad, and he was just sporadic rider. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just a sporadic rider.
Right.
Yeah. So it was fun, and so I learned how to, ease the clutch out. I learned how to have a passenger on the back, and then my dad, and then sometimes I took it out on the street. And we had this humongous hill in the area we lived. I mean, Oregon. It was in near Portland.
Right.
And I would go straight up that hill and then come down that hill and just ride around. It was really fun. And then my dad wrecked it one day, so no more motorcycle for me.
Was it a street bike? Dirt bike?
It was a street bike.
It was a street bike.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was fun.
Question number 2. What was your very first motorcycle that you owned?
My very first
Or was
motorcycle.
given?
No, it was mine, and it was a 2002 Sportster XLC, purple, like a grape ape purple, and I bought it brand new. And I went and I got my written permit, and I went right down to the Harley shop and I bought one, because my husband rode, and I would ride on the back with him. But oh my God, he was so fastidious, and I'd say, hey, let's go out for, a motorcycle breakfast ride. Oh, then I'd have to clean the bike. I'm like, so I bought my own, and then I got my license, and I rode the Lollipop for California, because the motorcycle class had such a long waiting list where I lived. It was like a 3-month waiting list. I didn't want to wait that long, so I drew the circle, the Lollipop, in my court in chalk. I measured it out and I drew it in chalk, and I practiced it every day, and then I made my appointment. Of course, it rained that day, and so I had to ride my test in the rain. But I passed. So it's all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question 3. What is and why did you choose your current motorcycle? What are you riding?
I ride an R1250 GS BMW, just a standard GS, but it's lowered because I'm 5'3". And I know that there are people who ride taller bikes, but why would I get a standard when I ride my motorcycle all over the country, loaded for bear? I don't want to be in unfamiliar places without. It's just not safe. It's just not safe to be on the street if you don't have. I mean, I can tiptoe it. That's all I can do. But if I had a standard height, I would be tiptoe on 1 foot. And California requires that both. California requires that both feet be able to touch the ground at the same time, so that people don't tip over and cause traffic jams, right? Or get hurt and have to call for police or emergency services. So I got that. And why? Because it's a Swiss Army knife. I take it to Costco, loaded down with all kinds of stuff. People follow me in Costco. They see my helmet. They go, how are you going to get all that on the bike? I'm like, watch. I get all my stuff on my bike. I take it in the dirt. I take it to the track. I take it iron butting. I've gone around the United States on it. In fact, in the last 12 years I've put 250,000 miles on that platform of motorcycle. So yeah, I go places. It goes everywhere with me. So I love it.
Yeah, I can tell, and
I really do.
That's the first time I've actually had a motorcyclist describe a GS as a Swiss Army knife.
It is.
And it's a brilliant description.
It can do anything, and it does it. Some people say, well, it doesn't do this and it doesn't do that. Yeah, but your bike doesn't do this and that and this and that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's not everybody likes it, but I do.
Yeah.
And I bought it for me.
Right. It fits you. It does everything.
I love the way
you
it
do.
looks. I love everything about it. I love how it fits me. I love the bike.
When you see it in the
I
morning,
really do.
it makes you smile.
It's my best friend.
Right. I always say to people that if you're going to ride a motorcycle, ride a bike that makes you happy.
Make it happy, yeah.
It's too dangerous of sport for you to get on something that you look at and you're like, I don't like that.
I don't really like that
It doesn't
bike.
feel right. It doesn't fit me.
And I don't want to have a ton of bikes in my garage.
Right.
One,
Exactly.
to do everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a little XT250 for single track at the like Hollister Hills at the SVRAs, but yeah, I love my bike.
Alrighty. Question 4. How often do you ride?
Pretty much every day. There's very few days that I don't ride. When I was working, when I was working at the police department, I would ride the bike to work, and my husband would say, "Why are you riding when it's windy and the rain's coming down sideways and blah blah blah?" He says, "I'm going to get a smart car for you, just a little smart car." I'm like, "You can do whatever you want." And then if it still be windy, he drove the smart car. I rode my motorcycle. So I've ridden in snow, rain, hail, 120 degrees, all the stuff.
Question 5. If you could take a long distance road trip on a motorcycle, where would you go and who would you take with you? Anywhere in the world and any person dead or alive.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'd probably try to take my dad, although I'd make sure he took some training because he wrecks. My dad's not with me anymore, but I would love to take him. And I would probably take him around. I would circumnavigate the U.S. There's a ride called the True X that crosses over in the middle of the country. You keep going back and you go all the way around the United States. So I love going around the United States. I've done it before. I love seeing how much our country has to offer. I know people go and they say, I'm going to go far, I'm going to go overseas, I'm going to ride here, I'm going to ride there. And I've ridden overseas. But the United States is quite amazing.
Phenomenal, isn't it?
It really is.
I've done a lot of the national parks on the West Coast and Central America. And it's just amazing. Absolutely incredible.
We're so lucky.
All right. Do you have a favorite motorcycle YouTuber or YouTube channel that you watch?
I don't.
No?
No,
Okay.
I don't do a lot of social. Well, I look at Instagram, and there are people that maybe I look at their stuff, but I don't really follow anyone, and I don't really look at YouTube. I'm just not there.
It's because this is going to be on YouTube. That's kind of why I asked the question. Maybe you follow YouTube.
Maybe I'll look at it.
Maybe you'll watch it when it's on. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
There you go. No, fair enough.
Maybe
It's all
not.
good.
I don't know.
Question 8. What's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you while riding a motorcycle?
That's really a good question. I'm trying to think. I can't really think of anything. I mean, I had probably the scariest thing because I really wasn't expecting it. I was coming over the Santa Cruz Mountains back to Santa Cruz, and the day was gorgeous. Highway 17 is a twisty mountain road, but it's 2 lanes in either direction, so you can open it up, and there was nobody. Everybody was coming back from the beach inland, so it was jacked up there, but pretty free on my side. And coming around one of my favorite corners, and I see a car way up ahead that has stopped, probably about 100 yards ahead, and then a BMW sedan in the number 2 lane. I was in the number 1 lane, and all of a sudden it put its 4-way flashers on, and I gained on it, and it had its 4-way flashers on, so I started slowing down. At that moment, I looked up the side of the mountain, and coming down was a wheel, so the wheel
Right.
and the tire, and it was coming down the mountain bouncing because it was coming so fast, and I calculated very quickly that it was going to hit me. So I just straightened and braked as hard as I could, and that tire rolled right in front of me, just almost, not quite grazing my front tire, and then hit off the center divide. And it was just unexpected, you know. It was complete, and I'd never seen a wheel,
Right.
you know, come flying free. And then, dude, if you Google that, you see a lot of fatalities. Not motorcycles, not just motorcycles, but cars.
Yeah.
And so then, 7 days later, I was in Wyoming, and I was on one of the connector roads from I-70 to I-80, and I'd just gotten off of I-70 going northbound, and I see this truck pulling a trailer, and they pull off to the side of the road, probably about 100 yards down, and so a whole cloud of dust because they pulled off the road, and coming out of the dust, there's a loose wheel coming right at me. Just like,
Oh my goodness.
and I'm like, no problem. I just,
Right.
changed my lane position, and it went whooping past me. I don't know who was behind me. There was no motorcycles behind me, but, so now every time somebody pulls over very quickly, I look for the loose wheel because
Yeah.
they come off. They
Yeah.
come off. So the second time wasn't so scary because I'd seen it before. But the first time coming down the mountain,
You
and
felt like it was a
fast.
genuine near-death experience.
Yeah, well, I was like,
It
it could have
it would have been.
absolutely.
If you weren't
Yeah.
paying attention, didn't see it, it would have
If I
just
wasn't paying
T-boned
attention,
you.
if I didn't have the braking skills that I had, that thing would have hit me, and just,
Right.
and it probably would have bounced up and hit me, so it would have been pretty bad.
Alrighty. Okay, moving on to a more happier note. What's the most favorite thing about motorcycle riding? What do you find? What floats your boat?
The control and the freedom. There's two. It sounds like they're two opposite things, but the freedom that you have when you're on a motorcycle, controlling it, making it go where you want it to go, when you want it to go there, is, you can have like really, really tough times that you're dealing with, and then you get on your motorcycle and all of a sudden you are back in control. You are feeling this freedom, where I always like to say, you're not the boss of me, no one's the boss of me. So I can be on the motorcycle and truly, no one's the boss of me. I am. It's almost like interpretive, music. You're going where you want, when you want to be there, and it frees you by being able to do that. If you've ever been a runner, I kind of equate it with running to a certain extent, but it's just this over and over, but with new vistas that just make life so much more flavorful. And I can't imagine sitting in a car and having the same feeling.
Right.
It's just doesn't
You
happen.
never get bored.
You
It's
just don't get
always
bored.
something.
You're always in it.
Constantly alert.
Constantly alert.
Focused.
Constantly interacting, but I don't have to talk to anybody.
There you go. All right, so that was question 9. Final question. What's the best piece of advice you can give new riders?
Take it slow. Understand that you can't compare your chapter 1 with somebody else's chapter 50 or chapter 100. If you put the time in and have the patience with yourself and with your understanding of the motorcycle, it will pay off. If you rush too fast, you'll scare yourself, and you may not ever ride again, or you may hurt yourself. And this is a time to be gentle with yourself and explore and be curious. Do it in a safe manner and find people that you can connect with.
Right.
Find people that you can ask questions of, and they don't belittle you, they don't shame you. You're like, I could talk to them about anything, because if you can find someone to help you like yourself and understand yourself and your bike, you're going to be miles ahead, but you have to be patient. No matter who is helping you, it's still going to take time.
Bonus question. Do you have a bucket list bike that you would like to either
No.
try and ride or own or have a no?
No, I'll try all kinds of different bikes, but I don't have. There's nothing.
You're riding
like-
your dream bike. You're riding
Oh.
the bike that.
Lee always has said. Lee Parks has always said. You know, well, my 2010. He said when I first got that, he goes, we were doing some demos, and he goes, Colleen, it's so cool that you have your dream bike. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, you love that bike. That bike fits you. That bike does everything for you. That bike is your dream bike. And I said, it is. It is my dream bike. So the 1250 and the 1200 GSs, they fit me. They fit who I think I am. They're a little oddball, you know, but they don't give a crap about it, what anybody else says. They just go and do it. I'll ride other bikes, you know, I have no problem riding other bikes, but I'm really happy with what I have. I'm grateful for what I have. And so, yeah, I'm not a chasing pie out in the sky
Right.
kind of girl.
No desire to swing your leg over a 200 horsepower MotoGP race bike?
No,
No.
not really.
Fair enough. Colleen, thank
No,
you. That
you're
was
welcome.
awesome. I really
Yeah,
appreciate your
good.
time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Continued safe riding.
Yep, I will. You too.
And thanks again.
Yeah, yeah.